Hello everyone, I hope you're well. I think I found a slightly better place to record in the house. I've set up my tripod and everything in a corner by our wardrobes and that. The only downside is I think you'll end up hearing Claire sneezing and Oliver talking really, really loudly downstairs, bless them. I'm recording up here because obviously they're down there. If I'm in the kitchen I can't talk about them without feeling a bit awkward. So yeah, here we are. Hope you're all well. I thought I'd do a short update at the start of the video about the assembly mess. Claire complained. She had a chat with school. They told her, look, we just don't think it's appropriate. I spoke to another parent who we were guessing had a son with some sort of sensory diagnosis going on, and got from them that yes he does, and so yeah, we what we assumed was correct. I think I mentioned on a previous video that I was in Tesco's buying from the till, and I heard a kid talking behind me. I thought that sounds really like how Oliver behaves every time we're in here, and turned around and saw this boy. I was like, I knew it. I was just like, yeah, you are so like Oliver, it's unreal. They're like peas in a pod, and they clash and disagree from time to time, bless them, but they do also play a lot together, and they are definite peas in a pod. And it was just interesting talking to his mum, because she said she hadn't been asked about the assembly. She had no idea whether her son was doing it or not. So she was going to check. I then asked Emily that day how it had gone, because she had to sit through it, and she said, hey, he didn't do it either. So guessing they just didn't bother telling that mum that yeah, their kid was not allowed in it either. They only told us because we asked. So Claire's told them we're not happy. I asked Emily what the assembly was like, whether there was, would it have been quite hard, and she said, well, it was a bit boring. She said they kind of came in and said, welcome to our assembly. We've been learning about Brazil. Brazil is a hot country. They sang a song about Brazil, and then they held up some pictures they'd drawn and just described the pictures they'd drawn. And I kind of thought, well, the song's the biggest challenge there. They could have practiced it in the mornings when Ollie was there. They probably did practice it in the mornings when he was there. That's what bothers me. I don't think they'd have thought ahead enough to have practiced it anywhere else. I haven't asked him. I don't want to bring it up to him too much because I don't want to upset him. That's again why I didn't want to talk about it near him. I considered doing a follow-up video where I got him to do his own assembly and make up a song or whatever, but I thought, you know what, I care about this more than he does at this point. He's not really fazed by it, but I'm just miffed that they've excluded him and he doesn't really know he's been excluded. Emily said that the fact about Brazil part, if only one kid gave a fact, the rest just sat there. They sang a song, and then a few of them held up pictures. They could have asked us to draw a picture at home. They could have, he'd already coloured in the flag and drawn that. He could have literally said, this is the flag of Brazil, and then they could have moved on to somebody else. It doesn't sound like every kid in the class had a full minute or whatever. They're only in there for 10, 15 minutes. So he just didn't get to feel like he was part of the class and get to enjoy that part of the story and everything. So I'm miffed, because it's the feeling of the wedge, as far as I see it, or even kind of further up the wedge. I don't know what else has been excluded from without our knowledge. They're making calls on these things, and I know some people watching will be like, well, they should make calls. They're the school. It's their job to make calls, and I completely agree that it is their place to decide where and when it's safe or appropriate, or what they can and can't resource and that kind of thing. But what I don't want is them making rash judgments off the cuff. He can't do that, or not thinking about it. In this instance, it genuinely feels like they absolutely did not consider, Ollie or the other children, because there was other children that I'm not 100% certain autistic, but they weren't in the assembly, and they're the ones that when we go to meetings, it's like they give me Ollie's file, and they go, oh no, that's not Ollie's file, that's somebody else's file, or, this is the document we're getting everyone to sign, and you can literally see everyone who signed it, and you're thinking this, that's a different topic altogether. Not that it's something that should be hidden and whatever, but the fact is we have a vague idea of who else is involved in kind of the same situation as us, and from what I could glean from Emily, they weren't in the assembly. And you're kind of like, well, what were they trying to do? Were they just trying to make it so that... Well, the stupid thing is, like, so I spoke to a couple of people, like Kev, who I know have dealt with things like this, and he said, well, they probably just didn't want all the other parents to feel, like, shocked that the assembly had been disrupted. And I thought, well, but all the other parents have seen them at parties. They know what they're like. They know them very well. They're very understanding. Most of them know that, a number of them now know about, Ollie's autism diagnosis, and I think they all assumed anyway, because I think once one child in the class had one, they sort of realised, as I mentioned, that they realised that some kids are identically, they're acting very similar. There are a couple of the boys where you're like, they are so similar. It's mad how they both follow the similar. I guess they're getting out of each other. They're learning from each other's behaviours. They're learning from each other's coping mechanisms, and it's interesting to see that come out because they are very similar boys. So yeah, I'm basically I am annoyed. Claire's annoyed. We've spoken to the school about the fact we're annoyed. I considered doing a follow up, but Ollie's nowhere near as annoyed as I am, so we're leaving him be on that. We've got a meeting with school next week where we'll be bringing it up. But what I just want them to do is if they've got a reason, let us know the reason beforehand. If they say to us, look, we're doing the assembly, we've looked at it, we've decided that there's a problem with this and we don't think you'll like it, and so we're not going to do it, then I'd be like, okay, I understand, or I'd suggest a way around it. Now, I reckon they probably thought, it's the hall, he hates the hall, he hates the floor in the hall, he hates this, that, and ever in the hall, how's he going to bother with this? But if they'd have spoken to me about that, I'd have said, well, no, he actually wants to do it, he's looking forward to doing it, he's mentioned it to us, it's something that is important to him, or it was at the time. He doesn't seem to be now. He's completely moved on. But it's I think I've made my point. They haven't included us in a decision, and I don't expect them to include us in every decision. But when it's something that's only going to happen once a year, and it's something that we should be getting involved in and enjoying, it's not really right that they could just take that away. Claire was upset. Claire was the most bothered by it, I think, in terms of she missed it. I was annoyed because I felt he'd been excluded, but she was going to go. She'd actually planned to go. It was in her diary to go and everything. But yeah, that wasn't the main topic of my video. I just thought I should do an update. The main topic of my video today was going to be more about me, actually, a bit of a self-centered one. I was thinking to myself, I'm a bit of an oxymoron, but a lot of people would say I'm just a plain regular moron. I don't really understand myself sometimes because I do these videos and I'm talking to, it could be any number of people, at least one, but hopefully hundreds, if not thousands. And I do podcasts every week that do go out to thousands of people. I've been on stage doing live shows at events in front of hundreds of people. I used to do my presentations at uni. I used to, I'm quite happy to get up and talk, and it's never really a problem for me to just get up and do something. But I'm also absolutely plagued by, and I feel like calling it this makes it sound bigger than it is, but I think it's the right definition, but social anxiety is a bloody mess for me, and it is horrible, and I feel so guilty this past week and a half, because about 3 months ago, maybe even longer, Claire said to me, a colleague is getting married this weekend, she's invited us both, are we coming? And I think I pretty much just kind of went, I don't really like weddings. So I kind of said to her, she says I said I'd go. I don't remember saying I'd go, but I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go. I then discovered it clashed with Comic-Con, it clashed with another event, it clashed with something else I'd been invited to, and all three of them I tried to say, well, I'd rather do that. Like, Comic-Con I really wanted to do because we'd been asked. I know Kev did a panel, but we'd been asked if we wanted to do a panel on a Saturday as well through like my gaming things, and that would have been so exciting. That would have been amazing. And it shows the oxymoron here, because I was excited about getting on a stage in front of a load of strangers, but the thought of doing this wedding was ruining my mind. We got to the point where I think I'd got really annoyed in my mind about the fact that I was missing the panel. And I ended up being a bit rude, not rude, but like I started to get fussy about it. I started to say, look, I don't even want to go to this wedding. I don't know any of the people. I think I'd convinced myself that the bride and groom have never met me. They don't know me. They don't even know my name, except for Claire maybe referencing me. The groom definitely didn't. I was like, they wouldn't, if she turned up with anybody, they'd have assumed that was me. I was joking that she should have just turned up with a hand puppet, and she pretended that she was mad. Like, she didn't go for that idea. I thought it'd have been great. But I was convinced that I absolutely had zero part to play in this, and therefore there was no point in me going. And so I made a big deal about it, and Claire finally said, look, just do what you want. I'm not going to force you to go to a wedding that you don't want to go to. Just do what you want. I'm fed up of talking about it. Don't bother. So then I spent days feeling really guilty. Well, probably 2 days feeling really, really guilty, because I suddenly thought, no, the reason Claire wanted me there was to be with her. She wanted someone to come with her, to sit with, to talk to her, to show off, look, this is me and my husband sort of thing, to her colleagues. So then I felt really bad. We had a chat about it. And I was like, look, I'm really sorry. I feel like I'm letting you down. I said, I feel horrible about this whole thing. I'm doomed either way. It's a lose-lose situation. I feel absolutely horrific. I don't know what to do. I ended up agreeing I would go, and I'd sort everything out before we got there, like what I was going to wear and so on and so forth. I then went, so I'd gone from getting what I wanted and feeling terrible about it to doing the thing I didn't want to do and feeling terrible about it. So then I spent the week freaking out because I was like, I don't have any shirts to wear, I don't have any ties. All my shirts are either like office shirts or going out in a club shirts, and I haven't got many of either. I didn't have any, this is just a nice shirt to wear at a wedding type thing. I didn't have a suit jacket because none of mine fit, and I didn't know whether I had any suitable trousers, so I was freaking out, and I hadn't been paid, and I kept thinking, right, Friday I get paid, I'll go and buy some clothes. And then I think it was like 9 o'clock Friday night, and I just freaked out again. I was just like, I asked Claire whether, first things first, I asked Claire whether she would agree a time we would leave on. She was like, well, no, I don't know what the itinerary of the wedding is. I'm not going to say let's go at 9 and then they cut the cake at 9:30 and they dance at 9:30. So I said, well, let's agree to go at 9:30, 10 unless something major happens. And she wouldn't agree, so I started freaking out. That led to me then, well, I was so busy freaking out about that I think I went to bed about 11 o'clock and realised I didn't have any clothes prepared. So then I mentioned that to Claire, and then she got annoyed because she thought I'd done it on purpose. I was like, I genuinely haven't done it on purpose. I've just been avoiding it because I don't want to do it. You know, I'm freaking out. This is a mess. I don't know what to do. We ended up having a bit of a disagreement about it, where she thought I'd done it on purpose. And I was like, I genuinely haven't. I'm just freaking out. Like, listen to what I'm saying. Don't, like, assume or anything. What I'm telling you is the facts. And so I said to her, look, I'll go through the cupboard now. So we ended up pulling out all my stuff and going through stuff, and we'd agreed like a shirt that might work, and I found trousers that fit fine and everything. And then weirdly I found another shirt that I'd completely forgotten I owned, and I was like, this with this tie and these trousers I look fine. I even got them on, and I was like, yeah, I'm standing there basically ready to go that night. And she was like, yeah, I'm happy with that. And I'm like, okay. So I put that all aside, and I felt a lot calmer instantly because I just got something sorted. And then we agreed that I convinced her to agree we'd go at 10, even though I think we both knew she was never going to honour that. I think deep down I knew. I was nervous that she wasn't going to honour it, and I think she knew she wasn't going to honour it. So we're all fine. And then she mentioned in passing that we were bringing the kids to the evening, and I was just like, no, another thing. And I was just, that was all I could think about then. I was so worried. So then being me and being annoying, we were planning on leaving at 1 o'clock the next day, and there was a Pokemon event on the next day. It was like a Lapras raid day, where it meant every gym in town had a Lapras raid on it, and if you raided and were lucky, you'd get a shiny Lapras. So I agreed with Claire I would be back by 12:30 to go and get there for 1. It was like a 15-minute journey away, and I'd get ready and go. And I did 10 of these raids and I got nowhere. I was getting more wound up about that, I think, that I'd done 10 and got no shinies, nothing. And I rang her and was like, are you definitely sure this is a 1 o'clock start? Because I could do maybe 2 more raids and then get back. She said, no, it starts at 1:30. I was like, oh, like, why are you doing this to me? So I said to her, I'm going to do 2 more, and then I'm going to come back. The next one I did was actually shiny. I was delighted. So that felt like a good win. I'd said to one of my friends, I'd almost ended up attaching the outcome of the entire day on how successful this was, which is a silly thing to do. But I think if that had gone bad, it would have sent me on like a bit of a, this is just a bad day. But I got it. And I was like, okay, it all worked out in the end. Maybe the wedding will work out fine in the end. I hate that I do this, but I did do this, and this is what I'm like. I managed to get back at like 5 to 1, and I told Claire we'd leave at 1. I managed to get ready by 2 minutes to 1. I was all dressed and ready. I was all clean and everything. And then we drove across to it. I spent the first, before the bride had arrived, I sat there just raiding on my phone, trying to get this raid done, and it didn't work. I felt a bit childish, to be honest. I felt a bit like, I don't know, I was trying to calm myself down because I just felt nervous. Her colleagues were chatting away to her, and I didn't. She said, do you want me to introduce you? And I was like, it's a bit late now. We sat down and we missed the window of, hi, this is Rich. I said, I think they'll probably assume the man you're with is your husband, but I just didn't talk to anyone. It ended up being fine. I'm not going to go through every beat of everything, but the ceremony was the ceremony, so we just didn't move or talk or anything. After that, we were just waiting around, so I got to break the ice a bit, chatting to the people. When we got there, we were all sat together on a table, and I've got to say, I feel like I definitely worried about nothing. It was fine. We kind of just, we sat at the table, we had, the meals were a bit all over the place in terms of, it was fine, but they just kind of brought out a mountain of vegetarian and meat food mingled together, so you had to guess what it was, and we were all just grabbing bits off the plate. It wasn't like a buffet, it was like if a really greedy person had got a big plate and brought their food from the buffet and put it down on the table, and then we were all just picking at it, and I was so hungry, so I was trying to get as much as I could, but obviously stuck to the vegetarian stuff. In the night they had a hog roast, which again we couldn't eat, but they had some veggie stuff there. It was fine, but generally that part of the day just went by really quickly and really easily. But I was still nervous in the back of my mind about the kids, because there was a massive lake next to. We were staying. It was in a marquee. We'd driven out to this marquee in the middle of like a field with a big old lake. One of the guys kept joking, they'll only go in there once, you know, you'll get in. And I'm thinking, but if they go in there at all, that's terrible. And obviously that's the first thing they wanted to look at when they got there. And I'm just nervously watching them. And I was trying to chill out. Claire wanted me to drive, so I couldn't even have a beer and try and relax on that. So I was kind of trying to just take it easy. I was trying to not think about it. I was getting Claire to follow Ollie out, and then we could see him. The marquee had like see-through sides, so we could see Ollie through that all the time. I'm trying to think of the right way to word this. I went out to see how he was getting on. Sorry, so he came up to me. This is the weirdest part, and it's classic Ollie. And I think it made me feel really anxious, but it also made me laugh and made me relax a bit in the long term, because he basically come to me and he went, "Come and meet Matthew. You haven't met Matthew. Come and meet Matthew." And I'm thinking, is Matthew a kid? Is Matthew an animal? I don't know what Matthew is. So he took me out. He takes me up to the bar and says, "This is Matthew," and the barman is Matthew. And I'm like, "Why are you talking to a barman, Ollie?" And it's because Claire had got them both a drink and he'd been chatting. So I just, like, Ollie just spoke, and the guy was like, "Oh, I have a son Ollie's age as well, yeah, you know." He's like, "This is your dad, is it?" And Ollie had just kind of become a bit kind of fixated on this guy. So I, like, led him away, go, "All right, leave Matthew to get on with his job, like, you talk to people your own age, leave him alone." So then he's playing on this, like, beanbag throwing game about an hour later, and we were watching him, he hadn't been going over there. And then when I went out there to see how he was getting on, he's literally asking everyone if they'll come and see Matthew. "Come and meet Matthew. Come and meet Matthew. Have you met Matthew?" And they're all just like, "What is he talking about?" And I'm trying to explain to him that I don't want to meet Matthew, and I'm apologising for him, and I felt really awkward. And then when we went, because I said, "All right, we'll go say hello. I'll get a drink." We went there, Matthew had gone, and then he just kept asking, "Where's Matthew gone? Why's Matthew left? What's going on?" You know, and I was like, "He's probably finished for the day." And he's like, "No, Matthew lives there. He works there all the time. He never leaves us." Ollie, you can't possibly know that about Matthew. You know, he's probably worked till 8 and then he's gone and someone else has come on for the evening. You know, it's not, he doesn't live there. He doesn't live behind the bar. And he just kept looking for him, bless him. And I felt really sad for him that he just had this in his head and he couldn't really just get on with it. You know, he was trying to, but no, I think I convinced him to come sit with me. We just ended up talking about Pokemon and stuff, and that was all right. And on the way home, we all felt quite like we had a good day. It was quite nice. You know, he'd forgotten about Matthew now. He hasn't mentioned him since. He got sweets. We all chilled out. But I got home and I said to Claire, that wasn't nearly as bad as I expected. I said, I do still feel anxious about the next one, even though people at the one we were at were two of the guests that I spoke to the most. We're going to their wedding at the end of the month. So it's like, I've met them now. But I'm still freaking out because I don't know literally anyone else. And that's what I said to Claire. I don't think the problem was this wedding exactly. It's the thought that this was horrible beforehand. It was fine when we were there, but it was horrible. And I don't know why I get it. And I don't know how to really overcome it other than just pushing on, which is a horrible feeling. But I was so anxious about it. And I kind of wish she'd agreed to the things I asked beforehand, like they helped me. I said to her, if we'd have sorted out my clothes a week ago, I'd have been fine. If we'd have agreed the time we were leaving, I'd have definitely known in my head we were going to leave at that time. We were fine. But actually, when we got to it, I said to her, we can wait another half an hour, because she was chatting to her friends, and I felt like, yeah, I can handle it. I looked around. I don't know what I was looking for, like a wolf or something, but I looked around and said, we can wait another half an hour. I'm fine. Then I sort of used the kids as a bit of a crux to say, look, they need to get to bed. But I'm just looking ahead at my month, and I think that's what's been. I'm realising that's what's making me anxious, because I've got. At the end of so I'm steaming up. At the end of the week, I got a Champions League final. Tottenham playing Liverpool in Madrid, which is, you know, that's stressful. It's a stressful thing because my team doesn't make the Champions League final ever, and here they are in a Champions League final. So I'm anxious about that, which is understandable. The week after, I'm going on a stag do with like 8 of my absolute best friends that I've known for 25 years, which will be great. And another 20 or so rugby lads that I've met maybe twice and are really boisterous and really loud and really heavy, good at drinking, good at abusing stags and stuff like that. And they're going to be rampant. And I'm so annoyed. I'm an oxymoron because I don't know where I'm going to be. Because sometimes I can go along and I can just join their level and just go full pelt, and I'll be like that all weekend and it'll be great and I'll be fine. or I can turn up and just be absolutely not getting involved in that. And I have no way of knowing, no matter what I want, I won't get the way I want it to go. I'd like to go straight down the middle and enjoy it. I don't know how it's going to go. So I'm nervous about that. Although I've basically put myself out of all of the activities that sounded a bit too much. Like they're going canyoning, and I was like, I'm not freaking out about climbing down a canyon and up a canyon. That just sounds like hell. I'm not doing it. So they're fine. I'm just going to stay back at the house and chill out. So I'm hoping that it will be in my favour. Then the week after that is the wedding of the people that I've met once, and then the weekend after that is the wedding of my mate who's a stag. I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be a good release from all the other stresses. But the kids aren't coming to that one. They're going to be with my mum, so I'm worrying about my mum looking after the kids for the weekend, bless her. I'm sure she'll be fine, but I'm sure they'll be fine, sorry, but I'm worried that they'll run her ragged and she'll be exhausted. But I don't know what it is. I just need to stop thinking about it. I think it's because I've done videos before, right? My mind doesn't stop thinking. I think constantly. I think that was part of the reason why Claire wasn't really worrying about stuff that I'd said, because she'll say to me, are you going on? And I go, yes, I'll go. And then she just doesn't think about it again. It's not in her head again. She doesn't touch on it again until I raise it. She goes, well, I thought we'd agreed that. She just parks it away in a box. Done. Which my mind keeps going and going. I was desperately trying to think of ways out of it before, but I think that's probably one thing that will relax me now, is not having to think about getting out of the other things, because they're positives, but it's exhausting, and I don't know what people can really do about it. I don't know how I get rid of it other than just, I don't know, hardening a bit. But it's exhausted me. So it's been nice having a bank holiday weekend. I slept so much yesterday. I think it sounds a bit weird, but I think I just slept off the stress. I was asleep on the sofa for like most of the afternoon, and today I've got up quite late. I mean, it's 12:30 now, and I've only been up an hour, but I've just exhausted myself thinking about it, I think. And yeah, I feel a lot better being on the back end of this. I've got a few days without having to worry about it, but I'm excited about the Champions League final, but that's after it's a work barbecue as well, so I'm kind of thinking that's going to be long and hot. And anyway, I'm rabbiting a bit now, so I'm going to wrap up, but yeah, I'm guessing loads of you get this sort of stuff, and I'd be interested to find out what you do, or how you handle it, or what's best. I just end up letting it get away from me, basically, and winging it a bit, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it has been a weird week, and this month is going to be quite hard. I'm looking forward to July being empty, although it's not, because I've got MGPX and probably other things will pop up. I can't think off the top of my head. So maybe I'll be looking forward to a quiet August, but that's not either, because that's where we're squeezing in all of our holiday days. And I don't know if I've ever really mentioned this, but I don't really like doing stuff. I quite like just staying silently in a room doing nothing, but it's not going to happen, so I'm going to have to get on with it. Thanks for watching, and I'll chat to you in a week. Cheers, bye.